Fred Lumbuye. Hello. Hello, everyone. How are you today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Lady Winnie Allison, and I'm coming to you today from the United States. I'm here to chat a little bit and share some information. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching today. It is May 14th, 2026. It is graduation season, so if you see some balloons in the back, my oldest daughter, or our oldest daughter, just graduated high school, going into high school, which is it's like finishing P7 going into S1. That's what would be the equivalent of the British or the Ugandan curriculum. Okay, welcome, welcome Shakira, welcome Philly, welcome Marvio, welcome. I am happy to have you. I'm happy to be here. I've been looking forward to coming back, but with the graduation, I kind of had to take a day off or so. Yesterday and the day before, I believe I didn't come. But last night, I had to make an update about our comrade, our brother, our teacher of political science, Ugandan politics, our professor, Lumbuye Fred. I had to come out and make a video. I came live without a video, but I did a recording in my voice. Afoiwa Anya lady tienendwe para bero. Sorry, para ngwan ma beach. Abajika bin kong wa bok lok manok wa med kong lok nyako lok anyim maluwag jam matikati me tutuale gang kuja la wo ki la wo maja pa bieno ento aberu ki graduation pa anyaka na madirte do tiako P7 tika chere S1. So wachi tiene wang ma bieno la wo tiana kata ki lok manok update maluwo lokom Professor Comrade Omenwa Fred Lumbuye Matie Beritaki Jopa Museveni gi go my page den go kwanyu page den ma no tie kere makilwoni Lumbuye Broadcasting Services ki page mo kana ne kilwoni Kajubi Fred 2 pages ario mono Museveni gene Muhozi gene Mafia gi go kwanyu page enyogo hello biabakama Biamukama. Oh, please, let's not mix that up. Hello, Biamukama. Thank you so much for being here. Faizara, thank you for being here. Julius, you're welcome. You're welcome. All of you, you're very welcome to our live today. I was updating in Acholi saying that the pages of Fred Lumbuye, Professor Fred Lumbuye, were hacked or taken over by Muhozi and his cronies. Museveni, Muhozi, the mafias, all of them took over that page. You know, they think when they take certain things, they take the spirit, but that's not possible. They cannot take or change Lumbuye from who he is, no matter what they do. Thank you, Harriet. Thank you, Aisha. You're welcome. Hadi, you're welcome. Mary, welcome. Richardson, welcome. From Fort Portal. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Please let me know where you're watching from. That's exciting to know. I'm coming to you from the United States. My name is Lady Winnie Allison. I would like to continue our conversation. I know that some of us have been broken by Museveni swearing himself in after stealing the election. Cosmos, somehow I lost my heart when I heard a rumor. I know, we all did, Cosmos. We all did. When I saw that page, I quickly contacted his close contacts and I tried to reach him. And so it was easy to establish true or false because I know that Museveni is constantly, Muhoozi, they are trying to get Lumbuye by all means. Kiza, my brother, you know, I grew up together with Kiza. So it's good to see you. Welcome. Zalina, welcome. Philly, you're very welcome. Nakazi, very welcome. Ambayo, welcome. Paul, thank you for being here. So I want us to chat a little bit about things that have happened, what's going on, the meaning of the event of the swearing in, the fact that Byabakama did not declare the results, and things like that. And afoyo wunweng, afoyo jo matie live man, dano ma politika bieno kombedi chawani, tien nendwa para ngwen medwa ma beach, atamni ka bien kong wa meta kilok ma lokom jemi tela matie time Uganda kombedi chawani. Atieki jami neno na ijami mauti me nirma la Museveni ukatekere swearing in kikui ma kwalo kirizal mabiaba kama po metinyoru na me electoral commission ingeni uchero uchi swearing in la boy report mo ke an manyorni actually any kwal any gene any lawyer kui tuan tek wija deda ento Museveni oberu la tek wij manaka yang wana yepe wangeyo kore diwi Museveni ni ento kumpedi chawani don wangeyo Museveni. All along we didn't know who Museveni was. The facts that he has moved the goalpost every time. He has moved extremes to further extremities just to see what Ugandans can do and how they will react and all of that. But Museveni, I can assure you that if you could not take Uganda when we were sleeping, so to speak, if Museveni could not take back Uganda before we learned exactly who he was and who he is, before we knew that Museveni was Kony, before we knew that Museveni was all these other, like ADF in Kasese, before we knew that Museveni was Kony for northern Uganda, before we knew that Museveni was Pokot in Karamoja, before we knew that Museveni was all those proxies that killed and destroyed Ugandans, now that we are awake, Museveni, you have no chance, especially that hoodlum of a son of yours. There is no way you will rest knowing that you have Uganda. For sure not. The fact that you have sworn in doesn't add to the fact that you are not legitimately a president of Uganda. You can call yourself that. You know, you can see from the attendances of the swearing-in ceremony, most of them were Africans. A few of them were extremely and heavily lobbied from the Western world. For example, the representative from the United States, one person of a delegation who went to the ceremony, that person was heavily lobbied to go and attend the event. Most of the times when the Western world will send somebody to go and do something like that, there are a lot of things involved. Some of it is to go and investigate, to see for themselves who this interesting person is. Also to capture what he might do live or be in the presence of how he may do certain things. So the African presidents who came, I can tell you that those ones came because Museveni somehow has a hand in their involvement, in their existence, in their winning of an election, in their other relationships, you know, like the AU being part of certain organizations. They couldn't avoid to be there because Museveni is somehow entangled in the leaderships of those organizations, which involve those people. Okay? That is the reason they were there. Obviously, his pets, his puppets, like Salva Kiir, he came because his strings are pulled by Museveni. Another one is the lady Suluhu. Of course, she had to be there. She's the puppet of Museveni. Museveni helped her win an illegal election and pronounced her 99% win or whatever. Kagame did not come. You know, they have another can of worms there. Obviously, there's the issues with Congo and because Museveni sort of threw Kagame under the bus. Maybe there's disagreements there, maybe not, but they're of the same camp. Museveni and Kagame are cut from the same cloth, the same ideology. In fact, Museveni planted Kagame in Rwanda, which makes it easy to understand that if he doesn't come, it does not mean anything. Doesn't. Ruto personally wasn't there. He was hosting Macron, the president from France. So it does make sense that he couldn't be there. But all the African presidents, all the other presidents who showed up or sent somebody have some sort of tie to Museveni in some sort of way. The best part is the African Union, which is an African Union. Somehow their ties, he had to be there. Atika wachine, Jami mauti me iniano me gene me swearing in chalo ludire lutela me lobo ma padi mago biano ne. Unu ne ne jo mago biano chalo ki America ki chwalo la cho achiel ke ken. Ka titu wuni mwakali bario ki piario werio. President Ruto iniano me swearing in pa President Ruto. Ki kelu delegation mo a ki America Dana Beach mago biano ka witnessing ni lachoni President me Kenya manyen President Ruto tika bino ka swearing in madana yo yero ma akala mo ke ken pere ma jami wen tika word mabe President Biden war Dana Beach me cherka nenungo ka witnessing ka beru chaden in ma President Ruto kitika swearing in ento pa Museveni enini ki or Dana chel miero ngeni Museveni chulu Dana makiluoni lobbyist uberu Dana man keketi itie ki keketi chalo campaign manager. Example mameta me example mabe lo ere campaign manager in kaiti ka chero ka yenyu kui iyero campaign manager ko campaign unyo campaign agent ene dan ma bu chero logo piri ma wachi umi kui ki ngate enini be ngate eni ngete me kuman ngate eni ki kadong ka kera mo kena je mo tie mano ini balo ma down tika penyu neni ngate ni to winyo ber kuman ba lobbyist to beru down ma bu wachi ngate yani po beru kuman ngate ni beru kuman ma beru down ko berichani lobbyist pa Museveni I America ki chulu chok billion chaka beach maki chwalu chana ki State House mechulu la chone yani wako mete ki lok mabe ki nyeng Museveni. So ngate yani tiche dong yupo nyeng Museveni ki neno ni Museveni unen mabe ilo America kany ento pegeo video mano wano chi chwalu ne jame maraj ma Museveni timu ma ya America duanta. So dano maki chwalu ki America mechero ka beru witness kunune oberu dano ma jala Museveni campaign manager pa Museveni Americani o lega ma uchulu bene chene ma wachi jalwe konywa we America o chero chinen kunu bene wek jo matamani Museveni rachi gunnen ni America bene chie chi wan waneno la cho achiel kuma en mala cho ne ni bene pero mo wani uberu la dit gimo ke ken la cho ne uberu we down mati keketi president's office no presidential advisor chalo down ma gere jo ma lori TV merat ta ma bene no ken mo ken pegin yang gina giti loko nene ko eketi down ma kelwoni full figure nen chalo wonu ngeyo keketi America o chor full figure yeo cher kwene I chaden pa Museveni ka swearing in man yuto ni no down ma pier tek ma pier tek down ma dongi wai in ko we kong tichi ti atimne ni ko tichi ni ben pier patek ko ichet ko ichinen kong gina la jok chane tika timne Uganda. So ki oro kun ki orni tichi ni pe pier tek anyway in tichi gu beru ticha tata cherchi maki wa machani makonye peni eno weko dan wa ki America beru dana chele kan kumai. I am saying that the lobbyists, the person who was sent from America to go and witness Museveni swearing in, it does not mean the volume like America sent a delegation of 5 representatives to go to Ruto's swearing in 2022. Museveni has a lot of questions around the presidency. The United States is not an exception of knowing the facts. Senator Jim Risch has done a phenomenal job highlighting on the atrocities of Museveni. So this gentleman who was sent, it doesn't have to mean that he embellishes any importance. He was lobbied heavily by the Museveni lobbyists in America, in Washington, D.C., because that is their job. The lobbyist is supposed to help Museveni look good. And so he had to find a way to send somebody. So let's just say they found this gentleman and said, you know what you do is not that important anyway. We need you to go over there to Museveni for a day or so and come on right back. So just to show you that there was not much value to that. So don't fear, do not worry, do not despair that America is complicit with what he's doing, what Museveni is doing, or the swearing in. They know for a fact that there was no DR forms. They know for a fact that Museveni did not win the election. They know for a fact that this was an illegitimate swearing in. They know for a fact, we have in fact the attorney of His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, Amsterdam, Robert Amsterdam, who knows and has been reporting publicly what Museveni has done and how come Museveni's government is a family cabal and they've performed a lot of atrocities, okay? Everything that we have shared, we have fed into the ICC, the international organizations, the EU, the state, the Department of African Affairs, all of the departments that pertain to Africa and the region and everything and the atrocities that Museveni has continued to commit. So do not despair. I am begging you, do not despair because you saw Museveni swearing in. Do not despair because a representative was sent from the United States. Compare 5 representatives delegation going into Ruto's swearing in ceremony versus one guy who is not publicly known to be anything important. They got him his ticket. They said, go on for a trip. He went on to Uganda, and that was that. Not important. Don't worry about it. The African delegations, the presidents who were sent, obviously have ties to Museveni somehow. But you also saw that some of them did not turn up. There's a big number that they're showing of, I think, 47 or 57 delegations or presidents or representatives from other countries. Not really. If you count, we did not have even 15 or 20 nations represented. That's for sure. You can look at the videos. Okay. Something else that marred the event. You saw that Museveni, as like every swearing in or the appropriacy of swearing in ceremonies, never in the past years that Museveni has come up and they've announced and all of that, that he had to have the CDF hand him the instruments of power. It is normally supposed to be handed in, yes, by some CDFs, but it should have been handed in by the Electoral Commission chief or chair or whoever that is, that person. As we had talked about how the events would happen, they tweaked a lot of things. A lot was changed so that we don't look right. Okay? For example, I told you that Museveni would be presenting Muhoozi like Simba in the movie The Lion King when the lion had a baby and was presenting that baby to the kingdom saying, this is your successor, because in the kingdom, that is how it works. But Uganda is not a kingdom. So essentially, this event was to present Muhoozi as the future. Even as Museveni swears in, you can see in his half-life, Museveni has deteriorated. He looks tired. He doesn't feel complete. He knows that he stole the election. He knows that he's lying. He knows that we are all witnessing a lie. He doesn't know what to tell the other people. His wife is dead and is in the fridge or at home or on the dinner table or on his bed. I mean, he cannot adjudicate to that. The guy is supposed to be miserable. He's trying to look strong. Muhoozi cannot handle this thing. The guy looks half full as a human being. You can tell that they're empty. They're just vessels parading out there. Okay? So atika wachi jami mauti me in an election ni uberu Museveni binu ka nyutu wode lok ma ana titi wula karcha ni jami kita jami no bote me kere ni anayoni guno ni omieregi weng la kiremoni kenyu wek loka ni po bera da kitima tata kere ento jami mogo ubi neno kita puru dong no kira tikwere ana wachi wuni Janet po beberu chie Janet be beru pe pien Janet ko berichan kwane pere ya ento jo chachwin gitek tek mama konyepe. Yes, Dennis, thank you. The public service. Okay, I'll get to that also. Thank you very much, actually. Jo chachwingi tek. Katiti wuni lachoni Museveni daune kwane urwenwaro. Ento unen kiragi workere kitek chwin iwa igimo marat ke kan pay lobuni. Dauni uta mamani uta unyo mama kerido okay kerti mamani kome lera dada ini romu kerta katata me biene kin down beri way gi mama rajpe bene pe lo yeba kun down no ni Janet pe down je pe Janet pe Museveni po mediteto ni Janet kome let unyo Janet ti mwaraka unyo Janet ti ot unyo Janet nini po mediteto ne makun wange ni Janet kwone dong pere wore muhozi bene ukatila ni ano cha wachi mienne peti mabe tika wachi suluhu me Tanzania ni tiku go chim ki wone nental tika metro mienne metro wone koi go kong unu nen tek twin mati kom Johnny unu nen kwa twin mati kom Johnny utamani Johnny adedani ni gipar piu Museveni pe par ka bini ngolo ngudano holi weng ini kololo kenyuni ngolo ko weng bene beru mod beri way gimo bene po yelo Monu kwa chwin pa joma aki Rwanda. Tutwale Museveni ge. Monu kwa chwin. Ento awechi wuno ni Museveni ko bino is swearing in bubino ka nyutu wore kundong miu batun ki wore wachi ene dobo meta nyim. Menu kita kitimu kere ke mano ki yuboni ubeberu kumenu ni wotangari ki wore nyunyo nyare obi meta ki logi community enini. Ento man Uganda, man democracy, ma president, o miere, o work lodge, jo mo kene dago don, kilwoni transition, ineno. Man, inone, okelo wode me anyura, pien, unu neno instruments, gina kilwoni, jami me teach, mano ki miu, mano nkano president manyen, uno Museveni ubu kwanyu jami eguni, miu kila din manyen wachi inde meta ki teach no mede fungwa gi kwa nga gini mi chien wachi inde meta ki teach wunu neno wode aye enu ti ukere ma kwanyu jame ni o miu kinga ki muone manna yang gini ni po metiti me ki yada la dit me public service ena kwanyu gina ki luoni instruments jame me teach mega mente manyen kwanyu kamiu kila din manyen manodong ki yer matika swearing in wachi indong man jeme mamiere ti kere anda ti ko mega inde mede kwere pe wore ye miu jemu kere ma oneno wore ubinu macharu la dir lobo ka oneno mutaka ne kita ki labeling kere ka choy kere jemu ne mo ki choy manyurni mana ye la tela ineno ento pago bakati mo botero ni ada jemu ne boberu kuman ubinu mere ka nyutu ana wachi buni na obo nyuru bode ma nyuru kuman chalu simba ifile mage luoni ya nis digena ni Lion King uberu ke pa gena ke me dilum makun nyuru ni labuo ayela dit menga me community me dilum chika la tieno bieno piano labuo dok la tiene meta ki lodge kumeno simba mala tien makinywalo dong la tien labuo ni wone obieno nyuru ki le weng matingo i communicate gi kun wajini mana ye la tela wu mabilo puko an kadong an ko na pe gina Museveni utemoni uberu kiti ene kikome neno lok mo kene ma tete ene kuno Museveni wachi en tameni dano po bineno manyuti neno pere ni kun wachi jo Uganda do bineno gina yang gen pia ginene kwoge dano po bineno pichan to pero madira dada kirwenyu kwo en makwai kurwenyu gina yo me kwo ni mena ngwane ni
ginadongu biti ye maboloyo mama 7 kieno mo kana ka loko no tika loko bo jo Rwandese ne kun wachini eni dong mawabi mago ni we umak teach peo doka neno pedo nien wachel umak wa teach kita wa mero kede metor Uganda go wek wana ye wa bedlu lonyo wana ye wa lo Uganda umak teach peo nien ena Museveni wachi no sleep this time you know no more corruption bena wajo kun ene no tika terne but down ma ende bi gwero ki gamente enini manyen ni wakimachoni jo madong tutwale miti wore ubini wai malaika miti wore ubini wai nga iwa Yesu mano ubinu ka konyu dano ubinu ka you know katimuti mogu ma pat ma wek dano mare ni ento no ena iko kwa chibalo ne ba pien genti yukumenu gibalo ma tek kadok gidugo gibai oh sorry nga mo bela ticha kumane ni inano. So I was saying that this was truly to present Muhoozi. As you can see his deliverance when he came in the first time, you can see the handing over of the instruments of there was supposed to be, Dennis, thank you. The public service person was supposed to hand over those instruments to Museveni, not Muhoozi. But in essence, they had to change things a bit because of what we had already talked about. But everything that they did was truly, as we had said, they tweaked it just a little bit. The other thing I mentioned was that Museveni, Janet would not be there. As you saw, the presidential dinner the day before, when he hosted the people who had come in to swear in, truly, Janet was not there. As we had said it, they tried everything possible. They even have a video that they put together to try to present Janet in a video if he did not come to the event, but he came to the event and he couldn't bring a dead body to the event. But that just goes to show you how evil and sick these Muhoozi Museveni people are. Imagine he has lost his wife. Muhoozi has lost his mother. But the ceremony continued like nothing has happened. I mean, that is the darkest of hearts I've seen. Museveni is the worst person I have heard of in my life, and I've not lived very long. Since I was born into his presidency. All I've known is Museveni's presidency. That's how come now I can talk, because I know so much about it. I have lived it. But to show you that these people are sick in their head and they're dark and they will do anything to they could have slaughtered everybody at Kololo and walked away like nothing happened. Which doesn't negate the fact that they may have done something to all those people, and I'll get to that. How sick is it that this man, the planned Semwandu, goes on to handle an event like a swearing-in ceremony where Janet is usually known as Mama, Mother of the Nation, Mama Janet. You know, she's dead, not there. The guy doesn't speak about her. The son does not speak about her. Despite all the questions, they move on like nothing happened. I mean, he never mentions the absence of Janet. Like, literally, it is obvious. Everyone is questioning it. Not a word. That is how sick these people are. It is said that Janet was already buried in Tanzania. But obviously, they are going to perform some sort of burial ceremony in Uganda because Janet, before she passed, foresaw Uganda getting completely messed up. And she knew that Ugandans no longer want them. So what he did, she wrote in one of her last rites and said, I would rather be buried where we can call home for a longer term. Because in Uganda now, people hate us, and I could probably be dug out in a moment of, you know, Ugandans disagreeing or whatever the case might be. She was worried that she may get dug out and burned or just played around with, because Ugandans are just waiting to celebrate the news. We know she's gone. And we are dying to celebrate because for once, these people have felt it where it matters. But let me tell you, we could be wrong, because these people are sick as the devil himself. Sick. They showed no remorse. That means whatever they're going to do for the next government, the next 5 years or the next time they're in power, is going to be worse than you can imagine. So brace yourselves for it, Uganda. It's going to get worse. I promise you. It's going to get worse if we don't do anything. If we don't do anything, it's only going to get worse. So ati wachi, chol chwin pa Johnny, ki kwa chwin pa Johnny, magi beri way gimo ayela mo ke ken penny. O nyuro be meta ki nyutu kita Johnny chwin gi raju ke pian Ugandans ku beri chan no good gitika kwora mengo yom chwin menyeno ni gien bene daro bene utoi gangi gien bene tika winyarem eno pego nyor mono ba manyuti jocha raju ki wachi Janet ku beri chane ki yigo godong ki yigo kwane Tanzania piana wachi muni Tanzania Museveni wili yengo madira de damau yubu gimoni beri way city wunu winyi way I lok mayo beri ka loko ne gena ikololo kacha o waju ki doge ni Tanzania mabor Tanzania deda PNN. Yes, Dennis, but we need it on a large scale for all Ugandans to be on the streets. Everybody do what they do to celebrate so that we can celebrate the demise of this woman. It is time for Ugandans to enjoy something. And this one is top of the list. Okay? So, Janet Kuberichani kiwaiki yoko Tanzania, ento karma Janet topian, karma ento kerini, uno dong Ugandans do choro. Ugandans don't deg ya deda. Ma general when you leg Museveni ya deda ni ping up or work pa John. Ping up or work John ya work. Johnny pegi miro wa wakwalo kuya kwala. You know, wakwalo kui wa work dong piara ngwendo ramo. Ento Museveni peye. Ma Museveni peye ni bana enye ni teri ali pap ki kui ni yani. No kibi mare. Ma kibi tere. Either kibi tere mabuji. Unyo Museveni no dong pekwa. Pien down ma John you tim arrange kom gidwa ta Museveni pero mkwo wala chanyanya meteng yo ben mir gone wiye wala la gena la tuampi making gang bene mir pisa Museveni koi go manyuti en nge dong loyo ni en ke we ko ke we chide tum en we Museveni mir toy dogeni en we mir te wode da ko magini pien Museveni nge ni wagweno ne po beri Uganda wangchawa chel teki Museveni gidong pay lot mwet petie gi moke ken ma udong gi Uganda marki wachi kita Janet dong ki yone pien karma Janet to ma endong ngeni debi cher awinyu wachi ene meti peki yire Uganda pien ngeni jo Uganda dong pe mere manyuti karma ke ken ka jemi ulaka dada jo Uganda bu gole ko kibi golo ke le yatane ki kera katata kitime kerata ki wow stime kerata pemete ki lan chogone chuwai ki yire kacha plana Museveni gidong tieni gube karte kito pa Janet ikine duwe ma bichel nyodo ma bero ena gi karte kwereni gube watchingo gube keru gimo ma oberi way kom dano ki kere coffin kitimu ceremony go mabe yikira ki yo kerdan ki bi yigo go mabe eno no ki yigo korgimoni pe kom dano pien kom down non ki yiro kacha ento le witch man no down way uya wunu way Janet aki Uganda do wunu way wunu ti Uganda ko pingo da pe ko yiro kan pingo cheru yiro wakamoni so gitika luoro ko question mu beru kiti en wego kibi timeni kibi yiro gimoni Uganda Kenyani. So they are afraid of the questions Ugandans will have regarding Janet when they come out in June or July to say truly she has died and we need to make a formal burial of Janet in Uganda. So what they're going to bury is not going to be the Janet, the person of Janet. They are going to create some sort of thing, a doll or whatever, mold something like Janet and put it for public display. You know, sometimes Museveni doesn't allow for coffins to be opened of dead people. When Jacob Olanya passed away, rest his soul, I know that one of the things that people had talked about and asked me said, wait a minute, we have not seen him. When I shared on my page that Museveni had refused to allow the coffin to be opened for his final viewing, he finally let it open. But in common practice, it is common practice that people like Kasiria Gwanga, Museveni burned his body and made coffee ground out of him and uses that coffee for people who visit State House. It's mixed up in other coffee. So people who visit State House and have some coffee, take a sip of some of the people that Museveni refused their coffins to be opened for final viewing, and Museveni has a guard on their graves. They have a guard on their graves. So I spoke about how come they were not opening the coffin of Jacob Alanya. And then he chose to open it. Otherwise, he had refused. Okay? It is the reason why there are certain graves in Uganda that Museveni puts a military guard, 3, 4, 6 of them, on the grave. I don't know why. I know why. Because he wants people not to dig it up and find information and find out if their person is truly in there. If anything at all is in there. Because most people who have died have been taken to Museveni first for his personal sacrifices, whatever he does. There are sick things that I heard he has done to the father of my children. It is insane to even think about, but he has done it. Listen, if Museveni can behave like this at the funeral, at a celebration, doesn't mention his wife, believe me, these guys are sick. I'm going to tell you some things that I think is going to blow your mind. Some of these things that I'm telling you, I can't even explain. I've never seen, never experienced, but I've gotten the information from the source. So I want you to share it so you can imagine the evil in the sick people who are leading Uganda right now. Sick, insane. Yes, Zuleika, the body of the bishop. I mean, these guys are something else. So Atika Wachi, Timpa Johnny, Rajadeda. Hold on just a minute. I've got to get some air in here. It's hot. Atika Wachi, Timpa Jochani, Rajadeda. Kita uneno kere ni pego betero ni Janet come pe anyway. Wundo ku kito beteme kere. Kia da kibe yigo yeku no kibe yigo gimani. Neno. Kibe yigo gimani no be ena da. Ento gine ni kagu yigo. Kibe teme kere ni dong liela da kita yang chan kita juini kita kiyo kere da ni. Eno no pe da. Chid nyuru kita Johnny chwin giraju kere. Okay? Atie ke jami mbogo ma mieta titi wu. Ma tirne jami ne mo titu ne tek pian ane ko mani pa ne no bene pa ngeyu ento pian information mano a ki ie kunu ki bot Johnny a mieti no wero niang kita diwi Johnny tie kere kita twingi tie kere mano kitemgi makwaro dano ma a ki Uganda awa Uganda kapewa ayu wonu malo chi kwa boberu dengba obi mette do amera pien ku berichani mwa biche ni dongu ma o kechia pa magin waja ni message ma eno wacho ni no sleeper da man wachi dano Uganda po benero ma po leni ini nero kira tema kitika temne ku berichani gitika ngonlo generation megi na youth en buluni ena egimere konge kwanyu ne ma bititu kita go betemu kwere ne ineno kado tiego bulu gimir tutwale Buganda pian wunu ngeni Buganda oberu kaikete Kampala oberu city ko gulu bene city kaweng city kama city ti yeni tima be ento Kampala oberu city mo city me gen economic city me wel madon ki business biachar madon timme Kampala maucha ki karepa Buganda wanigi wadon Kampala ni pian wege wa noni watelo teno kwane I Kampala city mangu wachigi metegi to Buganda wangadong pere petere ni pego betor kamo kene pian chikamo kene do gutoro bene kar malaj magitika timatata elare kon Uganda I northern Uganda kacha mwaka piera yo dan mertumo ADF kasese kacha maketon dan salumit paka chok tumo ineno kamu kene ma pari panga en machete en ma jo maton dan di warning po leo beru kwene i Buganda. Uneno. Karamoja kacha Eastern, Jo Pokot, mono weng no Museveni ukera ni mono teach ma Johnny miero ti. Ma dan miero tu moko. Gu wachi kombedi chawa ni dongwe. Dan buye. Uneno. Okay. So, Amiti Achaki, I want to start with the first, one of the things, the plans that they have going forward. After saying that there will be no sleep, they mean it. In what they mean is the fact that in Buganda, especially, they are going to cause the most distraction because they believe Buganda is one of the reasons they're failing in their attempts. I want to say this to Museveni again, that I know that you may watch this. If Museveni failed to take over and completely flip over Uganda and make it Rwandi's federation or whatever he dreams of, or make it their dynasty, while we were sleeping, while Lumbuye was not here, while we were not actively involved in questioning everything about Museveni, why does he think he can do it now? It's impossible to do it now. Impossible. Museveni, it is impossible for you to do this now when we are awake. There's no way. We are questioning everything. We're looking at everything with a magnifying glass. We're dissecting everything you do. Whatever you say is no longer superficial. We're looking in the details. We are smuggling security alerts right from under your nose. There is no way you have us. Museveni kanene no tamoni de kwanyu Uganda. Ikare ma wan put pia wakati kilok. Madan put pia wango yapeni. Kwanyu Uganda ungai Museveni kare enni. Museveni tamoni kubedi chawa ni ayedong ene bi kwanyu Uganda. Po bilare. Pien jami wengma Museveni timu watine ane kumai. Gene. Jami wengma timu lok ma Museveni lok dong pedo ye ni dong do waji do bed kumero. No. Gin mo ke ken ma Museveni waju wabi neno wabi ngiu wabi nyamu wabi nyangte wabi kertero li weng men yang ngoma tika wachineni dok tika wachine baranga pien kien mo ken ka en logo child protecting the gains enni po beru gains pa un Uganda ya gains ma Museveni wa ni protecting oberu gains pa jo Rwandese jo mano dong tika timo jemi go Uganda. I'm saying protecting the gains was not meant for Ugandans. So every speech of Museveni is going to be dissected, is going to be researched, is going to be broken down. We are not going to swallow your pills like we used to, Museveni. If you couldn't get us then, if you could not take Uganda before we woke up, my dear, it's too late for you. It's too late. The best thing we have is time. We have all the time in the world. And I'm not saying we're going to live forever. And I'm not saying that we'll outlive Museveni. Because death and life is not on us. God makes that decision. Anything can happen to anyone at any time. But I'm saying that in general terms, Museveni has no time left. Museveni is desperate. We have time. And we can get this done today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, anytime, because we have time. There are so many Chagulanyi Sentamus all over the world that love Uganda, that are friends for Uganda, that are born Ugandans, that are outside of Uganda, that are inside of Uganda, that Museveni, no matter what you do, you have no time and you don't have a stampede like we do. So this is temporary. Yes, you got a representative from the United States, but it's not a 5 delegation like they went to see President Ruto. You have a lobbyist in the U.S. who can get anything done, but we also have our ways. So we're not disappointed. We're not in despair. I ask everyone to wake up. Whatever you are doing, do it 150% now. More than you've done it before. More than you have done it before. We have this guy. We have got this guy because we have time. We have time. We have energy. We have life. We mean well. We did not steal anything. We are happy to be doing what we are doing, even on empty stomachs. The people whose houses are being broken in Kampala or anywhere in Uganda, those are people who supported Museveni. Those are people in Museveni's camp. They're crying now. Museveni has hammered Nup. He has beaten Nup people. He has killed. He has destroyed everything. We have nothing more to lose. We are ready to just jump on his jugular. Okay? So be empowered. Nano, atika wachi, Museveni karino dong tamoni ende ramut gini eniba. Tie jami aria dek, ma Museveni, mati marach, ki butung bad Museveni. Kay kete tukudilo. Ini nano team chani, ki team enini. Wa kete eni team pa Museveni, eni team wa. Team pa Museveni, mwakane do cherako. Eni gina Museveni pero amo welo ne dak pero amo duako ne. Ka dada ene nila neno cha mau neno Museveni i swearing in kachani. Kome dong pe, gubu dong pe. Kan neno bera neno ki teka dada. Lok keken, lok teke. Utemeni pie la kirmani kenyu, mono ki tuju ki vitamin dada. Utemeni pie la kirmani kenyu, eno kono medeste varia dek kodong pe. Chwinye ramu chocha moe ken. Museveni mwaka piera bungwen ki wiye. Pien bolo dani mwaka piera boro ki wiye. Museveni mwaka piera bungwen ki wiye. One, Museveni tiye ki jami weng, tiye ki lotiano, tiye ki family, tiye ki lonye me Uganda go weng. Ene ori maki tika torne tengioni, ori pa jopa Museveni gi. Neno, Museveni do weko Ugandans luchana deda, weko daga doge camp enini. Jome camp eni matie Ugandan National Unity Platform, joma mero change ni. One pole wati bulu. One pole wati ki kare me anyim, wati ki kwa, mati kabino, kwa gere kekete, ruba gerom kwanyo kwa cha moe ken. Ento i general, kumai, waka lokong mere general. One job wati team mawa mero change ni. Mwaka waputie ba. One job wati team enini. Gima wadong pere, Museveni ugoy, okwanyo lonyo kiching wa oli wenke nen Bobby Wine wa ata bene pere. Museveni kwanyo ata Bobby Wine ko. Beach pa Bobby Wine katikiro mero kwanyo ne ko. Jo mati di gena itengyo jo achar will Uganda kacha. Kilor no dukan yo ko kitime ko tata danu dong no. Makai ki go at money ni kono better steps kono di bene pe oriwa. Koko ne bene pe wa bi kok pien gi mo wa dong pere. Ento wati generation me bulu ma ke tika nekwa ke me change tika nekwa. We are hungry for change. Wati eki gubu, wati eki mwake me anyim, wati eki kare. Gima wa budong bedong pere, jemi wa wenki kwa lako, kibal jemi wa wen. Wadi wa, kono wege wa, kono mege wa, maki nekone duanta. Inheritance kono ngoni, pere bodwa. Ento wadong kikomwa, kiwi wa matiu, kikomwa matek, mawa tie ready, pia lora, chawa mo keken. Chawa mo keken. So, jomati Uganda, mak annually me Uganda, chwinyu poto, utung matek, pian gubu tie, mwaka tie, lonyo wabe pere. En joma dong pe nian tutwali jopa Museveni gi, wan ka wanena ko libat pero gimama watam ko ni business man ti abale ko no ki kwanje mi wen wanena ko li rot wachoma wa yeng wachoma wa mera laga. So are you chung matek uchung wono matek gimoe ke na tika kariki bot Johnny wu kwe ko ujema ko po ye ya wono tiki jemi wen camp change. You have everything going for you. Camp loss, Camp Museveni, they have everything to lose. We have everything to gain. Those are two teams. We have everything to gain. When they break those buildings, they're not ours. Okay? So it is up to you, who is young, to be smart and brilliant, not to go for that rice that Museveni is making because it's poisonous. Not to accept small money because the future is large. This small money that you're going to get will take you nowhere. Nowhere. These Balaam people are giving you this, that, and the other. Please don't accept that money. Stand strong and be bold. Do not accept to be fooled, to work for the Musevenis. I'm going to give you a typical example of a Ugandan who has worked for Museveni diligently. And it is time for Museveni to kill her. It is time. Ugandans, wake up and choose to be on the right side of history, or current affairs for that matter. Uye side maboloyo ginia. Pochet kichani, piana bin YouTube dano mo makuperi chamani, otimu jemi wengpi Museveni, ento. Museveni do wachi omiere kikwan jemi o weng kibore, weng kikwan jemi weng kitwego, chware kineko, en bere mir cherchi toko, dago ni no yang pero mutietu gimo ire, magina pe mer winyu nechi kwa. Anita Among. Anita Among is an example I'm going to bring to all Ugandans working for Museveni. Anita Among she's now fat enough for the slaughter. Let me go to that first anyway. So, according to, you saw during the swearing-in ceremony, Anita Among tried to speak with Muhoozi. Muhoozi was so disgusted that he could not bear to give her a glimpse of his eyes. It was just too much. He could not even look at Anita Among. And yet Anita is staring right at her. That is a picture of a true Uganda today. Today, that is where Uganda is. Uganda is Anita Among. The Muhoozis, the Musevenis is Muhoozi's picture. That figure of Muhoozi and Anita Among. Anita Among represents Uganda and Muhoozi represents the dictatorship. You can tell how disgusted Muhoozi is. He doesn't even want to look at her despite what she's trying to tell him. Meanwhile, this woman just passed a bill for them in a very rudimentous way. She did not think that tomorrow things would change. But I tell you, their plans for Anita will bring her to her knees. And this goes for every Ugandan. So let's start with Anita Among. Atika wachini, chal ma wunu neno matika nen matika warata manyuru Muhoozi gina Anita Among. Kekete eni Muhoozi. Mana Anita Among. Anita Among no tika wachi gimani about Muhoozi. Ento Muhoozi chwinye dega Anita tutwal maperomo noni permiti nen wa Anita. Makune ni no speaker neba. Man put speaker be parliament put pia again no bale. Despite being the speaker, awachi Muhoozi, Anita tika lockboard Muhoozi, ento Muhoozi permiti etiki wine, menen no wa Anita, unyokari ni nen konka wi Anita kuman, menen just figure pa Anita kuman, po me ticket wine kom Anita. Manyure loka Anita tia wachini, dek ira deda, bene permiti nen wine, permiti win wa loka, ti chalu tia wachi pingo, dako ni kiye obionu chakera. Mana ye chalma Uganda. Kekumanak. Okay. Mana ye chalma nyuru Uganda. Anita Among tie chalma Uganda. Chalpa Uganda kuperi chawani. Muhoozi oberu chalpa ngo gamente pa Museveni. Mana ye kita Museveni gi beru kere kiwan mawati Ugandan. Ineno dongwe. Mena ye chalme Uganda ki kome. Ini ka wunu keng ineno swearing inwe. Gineani unyuru adada ni kita John par kere piwa. Pegi par wachel. Abititu wu kita dong muho Anita Among chawa ne do ramo ko. Museveni gido wachi kare do ramo. Mekwa nyo Anita Among ki jami weng mano Anita Among tiye. Abititu wu kita gino buwaro kere. So, let's start with Anita Among. I wanted her to be last, but let's do that first because I'm right there. Okay, so you remember at this parliamentary seating where they talked about the sovereignty bill and they passed the bill. One of the things that Anita Among said to Joel Senyonyi, Lope, Anita Among said that it was their last supper. And that is to Joel Senyonyi. And Joel said, what do you mean by that? to tell you how tables have turned. That moment, whatever Anita Among said about being the Last Supper, take it from me that Anita Among is on her very last supper. Things are about to change tremendously. Tremendously. Here's how. So far, there's been talk about Anita Among not becoming a Speaker of Parliament anymore. There is also talk about Tayewa, but Tayewa is one of them. You just never know. I'm not going to bet anything on that. But for Anita Among, it is clear that she's no longer going to be Speaker of Parliament. Everything that Anita Among has done, everything the government has on her. Remember the case where this lady Nandutu is in prison for. All that involves Anita Among. Anita Among has been fattened and she's ready for the slaughter by the NRM government. That's exactly how it happens every time for everybody who has died working for Museveni. This is the same script. Those of you who are rushing to work for Museveni, this same script follows you. Museveni will not take you on and give you a lot of power if he has nothing on you. They have enough on Anita Among. This is what they want to do to Anita Among. Atika wachi, Anita Among don kara ne oramo, me abaya, me aya, inero, kiwachi joma gire, joma guago le charo upego ni. Upego pe chate ma food pia no puki. Pien kilo ne no po barwate, bene pe chate ma be, wele pe war ma be. Ento upego ka do fuki o ma be. Ene don ngo, one upego, one farm don why karane do ro meter ne chuk. Anita do upego ma do kero fuki don ma be. Uramatera de chuk. Abititi how. Muhozi gi, gini Museveni gi, gini mafia gi, guwachi, gino miragi kwang timu ne ena ye, kwanyu kwa pachwa nite makiluoni ya Magogo ni yoko. The first thing they want to do is take away the life of Magogo, Anita's husband, Triple A's husband. Okay? They want to bring her to her knees. While that happens and she was wallowing in tears, all of the crimes that Anita Among has committed will all come back to life. Kaki tiyo kwanyu kwa pachware makiluoni Magogoni, mabeno chamu chana madira tai Football Federation, Confederation of Football, kora nga gini. Actually, Magogo has tons of other cases, including match fixing and stealing a lot of money made for the Football Federation. All of those crimes are on the table. Museveni has the file of all of Anita Among's troubles. And they're coming. They're coming in droves. So after her husband has been taken away, lost his life basically, all of Anita's crimes, including what's her name? Nandutu. Nandutu is in prison, remember, for corruption and Mabati thief and something that had to go to Karamoja. It is the reason Anita Among is sanctioned. The same crimes that make Nandutu in prison today and Anita Among out is the same crime that caused the sanctions, corruption, one of them, okay? Several other corruption cases such as the Mpuga deal where Anita Among was behind giving Mpuga the 500 million. All of those, even if they were ordered or Museveni instructed Anita on how to weave those crimes, they're no longer, nobody else is responsible except the executor, who is Anita Among. All those crimes are coming back to life. After Magogo has been killed, they want to put Anita in a position between two walls where she cannot reveal all the dirt she has done with Museveni. All of the things that Museveni has sent her to do, Anita will not be able to talk about. Because if she opens her mouth, she already has several crimes of corruption on her. She has already lost her husband. She already tested positive for poison. Anita will be like this. And all of you who depend on her will have no access to her because Museveni wants her gone, going, gone. It is serious. So, Anita Monka don kwa pachware ke kwanyo. Museveni meti balpa Anita o weng maberu chalu jemi maki or Anita ni uteme. Mogo maberu kwa lumbati mogo maki weki teka armoja ni. Piana Anita ununge ni tiki bal mautemo mawe pero peke ye chere lo muka yana chala America. Gin maki luoni sanction tiko Anita. Anita mong pero mo bini America. Anita mong pero mo chere Europe. Tie lobo mau kwara Anita mong ogopi bal ma yano timo mpe corruption ikom dano me Uganda. So Anita pero mo chere wako kamo keken. Gina Museveni miro ena ye meke to Anita I box kuma enini. Ikin gina rio. Ma Anita pero mo dire pero mo yueyu. Komberi chawa ni Anita kiwachi uchamo ya poison ma Museveni poko juini. Piano chero chipi me unoni poison ti kome. Aya, ki med ki topa chware ma ki wai ki bineko koni. Pien chware ben la kuo mata chene ma ki kere fufa ko fifa gini. Weng no ki noni kuchama tata. Anita mong ena yo beru la mi chene million mia bit bon puga I parliament. Record me I parliament ma aki office pa commissioner ma nyurni Anita mong kwalu chene di chenki di wo pire kene duanta. Anita mong tie ki lonyo ma petipte. Pero mo niyang ni dano ma ti Uganda tie ki kori lonyo yanni. O weko wang muhozi ki kwa o pian muhozi wa kori mutoka ma Anita okelo ma kilwoni Rolls Royce ni. Mutoka pa Queen ba? Bunu ngeni Rolls Royce mutoka pa Queen. Mutoka eni ka ki yuwu achelo nyo ario nyo beach imwaga chel. Pian mutoka cha ena kilwoni bells and whistles di. Jummi weng ti ye. Kai beru kuman chako timo massage koi komi. Kai wachi dira kuman idiu meri button jara gimoni kanyi diu loke loka kuman. Kai miro loke wako teriwa wako bene loke. Dogo la pa mutoka cha yape kilong. Rolls Royce uberu mutoka pa Queen. Mutoka pa Jome Europe and Kabaka me Europe. Ena ye mutoka Rolls Royce. Kabaka me Buganda tieki Rolls Royce. Mono beru mutoka ma pien kaba kita wajikere ni Buganda beru organize car malach. Jami giu beru ka wad ma be pi car malach. Mutoka ma kirien ni beru bi beru meet manaka yang chon. Chi I Buganda mutoka ma kiluoni Rolls Royce tie. Makare ma Anita ukatiki mutoka enu ni. Muhozi ukatichi wachi ujane. An manaka yang kuona pia beri kori mutoka enini. Babana maanangi, babana mo beri babana pe makapiera beach werioni. Pe yo beri mutoka enini. Anita mong chako katiki mutoka nini ning. Unyono tien lulonyo kodong ba. Anite ugayaro adgangi kacha beri wai State House. Unero gang pa Anita. Mauteri e John yoko weng. Wega wachi wuni tie Daruma Gine. Hi Kim, thank you for sharing that. Tie Daruma Gine ma Museveni gi ukwanyo kwogi ikare ma ena kiluni prime ni. Prime no doi stage ma iromu yeni okay. Andong ba da kwodong ti mabede da. Kada bi medekere do abi medekere mot piendong paro muche me dokchen tutwal. Anita mong kakenyu dong. Ti jomu kene bene ma ento tek di odil tap Museveni tuki chair go dugi ping. Museveni ti we got eno ne makilwoni gena ne. Makilwoni peak. Inge peak ena ye keketi God money tieku. Ento we mala de da. Kamala malo kilwoni peak. Museveni ko na ne indo itika chair kuntu twale ka ena itika itia tijichien tek do itika prime unyo peak kamoni ni kamano jamitima be tutwal mainoni kai che baby che tutwal dogere baby dogola chan waka wachi baby dogola chan kita no yang inge pol down ti mataka deda iho kamoni chi wachi okay da no ni kan kamati yeni peda romo doctor tutwal Aro mere medanyim nyoromu gikakan chi a very fine. Lote na beru mabe, one wing maberu mabe yela mai kwenpe. So, joma kakenyu kwogi kikwanyoko. I'm saying that for the most part in Museveni's world, in Uganda, People who have worked with Museveni and have gained and have reached some sort of peak or have reached a prime, I'm trying to say, where somebody feels like, you know what, I've reached here. I don't think if I slip, I'll fall too hard, or I'll lose so much, or my family will go back to zero, or, you know, or if I stay here, I'm comfortable. I can take care of it from here. Or if I go up, it'll be well and good. If I don't, I'm okay right here. So Museveni has seen that when people have worked under him and have reached that stage whereby you take him for opening ceremony of your house, or you open your company, or you go and say, oh, President, look what I've done, including bringing the Rolls Royce. That was a place where Anita should have been humble about and maybe not reached. And I'm talking a few steps back. This is not the right place where she should have thought twice. But because she's here, she's in her prime, she's at her prime stage, the best ever. Muhoozi came out and said, you know, I have never sat in a Rolls Royce in my 52 years. And I know for a fact that my father, who has been my father in 52 years, has never sat in a Rolls Royce. A Rolls Royce is a car for royalty. And it doesn't mean royalty of just the kingdom, of the United Kingdom. No. Rolls Royces are made in England. Yes. They used to be made for the royal family. But people like Steve Harvey's and, you know, the who's of the world now have a Rolls Royce. I get that because they can afford it. Those vehicles are made in limited editions and numbers. They're not like Toyotas, which are produced like, I don't know, 5 million every 3 months. No. Rolls Royces are made precisely to taste of those people who have earned that taste. Earning meaning you have worked for it, not corruption like Anita Among. So she got the car and pissed off the people who gave her the opportunity. So it's time, because Anita is now fat enough to be slaughtered. I was referencing in Acholi that a farmer of a pig does not take the pig to the market before it's fat enough. The goal of farming or pig farming is to have an animal worth some money. When you slaughter it, its weight is good enough to bring you best income possible. And Anita has arrived there. According to the Muhoozis, Anita has already ingested poison. She refused to go out to North Korea or some part of the other world because she's trying to stay in and win the speakership against Norbert Mao. I don't know if there are other people at play yet, but if they are, there is such a thing. Okay? She refused to go out for treatment and invited doctors to come in because she has the money. Again, this is the money from those people who are pissed off. Okay? So, after Magogo is taken away, all the corruption cases will be brought to life because they don't want her to speak of all the evils she has helped the Musevenis do. For herself, personally, some of things she has executed on her own. Most of it, she has executed on orders. But this is the Chisanja. This is the time they need to clear evidence. He wants to pave way for his son Muhoozi to take charge. As foolish as he might be, Museveni thinks that maybe as he stands on one leg, he may succeed somehow. Like I said, these people are in a place where they either have to die in power or die in power. Because as soon as they are not in power, they know that even their chicken will not survive in Uganda. Their chicken will not live in Uganda. Everything Museveni will be erased permanently if they are no longer in the leadership. That is why Museveni came half a human being to Kololo to swear in on a position that he stole the election. The results were not pronounced. Everything about the swearing in was rogue. Everything was rogue. And everybody who came to witness, everybody's whispering, sweet, 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 because they know the illegitimacy of the whole thing. President Tshisekedi of Felix of Congo. I mean, some of you have to see it to believe it. He was advised not to come because Museveni and Kagame are pissed off for him trying to get, for getting Kagame in trouble by the accord that was signed with President Trump of the United States. Because he did not honor it, President Kagame and a lot of his executives have been sanctioned. They can't travel. So, because of that anger, and knowing that Museveni is Kagame, they're basically just one is a shadow of the other. He came anyway to Uganda for Museveni swearing in. And so Museveni and Kagame swore that Tshisekedi will not leave the same way he came. But he was warned. We made sure he got the message, but he didn't listen. So in the next few whatever, you will hear of ailments of President Tshisekedi and this, that, and the other, because he had special treatment given to him by M23, the same soldiers who were pissed off by him expelling them from Congo. We can only do what we can do. Okay? I just do what I can. We do what we can. But I'm telling you, Ugandans, don't lose faith, don't lose hope, because you are best positioned. I will stress the fact that your camp of change, I use my right hand because you are strong, you are powerful, you have time, you have lost everything. You are hungry for change. You are staring at a crumbling country. You can do this. You have no stain of blood on your hands. You're not guilty for stealing anything. In fact, you are right and righteous. You are in the best shape possible. Going on to this camp, they've stolen so much. They've committed so much crime. They are they are evidence in every sort of crime document that has been filed anywhere. Museveni Muhoozi does not miss on any human rights violations document that has been filed all over the world. They are in videos. I mean, we have information. We have so much against these people. The last thing they have is time. Museveni is half a human being now. When Museveni has to get out to be in public, he has vitamin shots like crazy. He's probably given shots of adrenaline just to keep him up on a string for a little bit. The reason why he walks with his daughter, or he takes his daughter to events and this and that, is because his daughter is the only one who can serve him food. His daughter is there because in case he falls, she can help rescue him. In case he falls. Look at the plans when Museveni has to go anywhere. They plan for diapers. They plan to change his catheter. They plan to make sure his hand's looking right. They plan to make sure he doesn't fall. They plan to make sure he has the shots of adrenaline or vaccines, whatever, to keep him powerful, strong. They have to plan on what he's going to say. He has to rehearse it like 500 times. They plan on what is he going to eat. They plan on his toilet following him. They plan on his meal, who is going to serve him, who is going to eat it. While this successful camp that wants change, you just get up and go. You walk free. Museveni cannot walk without that popcorn container. You are free. You get up and go. You are hungry. You want change. Okay? You want change. Somebody's calling me stupid woman. Oh boy. Anyway, I'm not even going to pay attention to that. But I'm saying, Atika Wachi, one job mamiro change Uganda. Watiki Jemmy Wang is side wa. Jemmy Wang tika wat mabe. Pian gimawa pe. Benekawa warpe waluo. Benekawa mero money. Wacher wacham kita iwa mero. Kay go kang Museveni ko bo aki gang hebe cher kamo ke ken. Di wo maru di kone. No kitujuki gene. No kitujuki yat wa bed ma gene. Makoma yacht. No ki mier ki planning ni diaper do museo buchar wako mier ki ket diaper kenyo mier ki mi gina katera pien gina lai ki tube kunyoni mier ki ket katera kenyo mier ki planning ni anga mo bo pero deka bo beru deka anga mo bo gina bo mi dek koni ko poro kono anga mo bo cher ka jolo ne ko bo poro wane mono kono chiemo ne mugome ugena ure yar ye utuj mabe kainen kong mas au ker wunu mas choka bit kenyu pian mier ki bo wango pian ka ki wel wan tuolo ko ni ka kamera mago beri wai muze me mwa mier yo ki ganka ka cha mier no wan ki bo go away department man neno ni Museveni miero katikin down chok department Pierre Beach ma miero ket powder wine we kon wine na bebe ma miero kon yup gina ye wine we obeta bebe wane kon miero ke yup la kirmani kenyu I mean in kay go mero campa Museveni mano Museveni bukatikin down camp wa ma miero change ni bene neno ma gimama baru ipe pian gimoni gidi pe kacha me wori warata Museveni pero mo word la boy container money man beri eni in kai bi we ko ka SFC ayobo mare ma ngeni no iti target kape I mirikita iyo mero I chero ka moy ken Museveni penni eno kunyoni ya Museveni ko pidakira ma enti yeni kada ho ero tamon dakira muka ni wai man dakira chani atimeni ning ka jonu utema kuman kono atimeni ning Museveni kwa pitin pian ngeni dire is not promised dire ni penge yu kono ngoma betime miero planning security jui miero lock security jui lock mati ene iye kunu bene kati jui kuneno Museveni luoro one Ugandan dong loyo gibon keken pian Museveni ngeni kachewa ti endong pe kachewa malo ti no endong pe pian keri tiene ni tien nuchudano wonge gira ke luoni nuchu inya ikwalo gimo keri ganke wechi kwalo dek ikero dek dogi ingeni twinyi peramu pie wang ma dao katiwe twinyi peramu pie Museveni ukwalo kui twinyi peramu pie pian wa jomo binu kaneno swearing in nani down wing tika kweledi down when kwelo kita jali tika nen kere in konke ken kay neno ni kay neno Museveni jo ma tika neno mo ai wa ni wa ya John mo ga piera borge wi for me ngo tamti we down neno Museveni kitami wigi people are looking at Museveni with thoughts. Have you ever looked at somebody who you cannot say something to but your wheels are turning in your head, but that person knows that you know something but you are just not saying it? That is Museveni's predicament. Everybody who looks at him has questions, has wheels turning in their head. But this guy is bold as something. Bold as something. That just has to show you that when you have somebody like this at hand, you know how much they fear you. Museveni fears Ugandans. That is why anytime he travels, 30 kilometers back and forth is sealed off. Nobody travels. It's the power of Ugandans. But most of all, the people working for Museveni must come out and do the right thing. Because like Anita Among, it is coming. It is coming. I have so much respect for certain people. I have. But when the time comes for these people to do dangerous things, they will. Honorable Mao, I have so much respect for you. But you are getting in the pockets of, I mean no disrespect, and I'll stop there. You know what I mean. Ati dan ma warge de da mati yuki Johnny. Ma nge nyimgi, one nyimgi. We all know their future. The ones working for Museveni. Anita Among's steps could have been told by anyone who has known Museveni for a while. But we just, you know, when you say something so much that you just let it be, and to be so short-sighted that these people go into these things knowing what happened to their person before. They know. I use the father of my children a lot because I knew him and I respect him, and it's not because I disrespect him that I speak. He's an example because I knew him and I have so much respect, and I hope other people learn. Lokech, for example, he was rising up the ranks. He said something about being president. Museveni was like, what did you say? In a moment, he was gone. What type of ambition do you have that has a ceiling? How can you be in a place where you're not allowed to raise the ranks? Because Anita once mentioned, in fact, the fear of Museveni and Muhoozi is that Anita Among and her husband are preparing to become the next president and whatever of Uganda. As lousy as that sounds, that is the fear Museveni has. That is how much Museveni fears Ugandans. That he even has dreams, hallucinations that make him actually take action, like killing Anita Among and her husband. Hallucinations. I don't see Magogo being a president of Uganda. I don't see Anita Among being a president of Uganda because we will never choose Anita Among. But Museveni fears that. I don't know how. Uganda will never choose Anita Among for president. Even if Anita Among was the only qualified, let's say, even if Anita Among was the only one running against other Ugandans, Anita Among cannot win presidency. But to show you how Museveni is afraid, Museveni fears that the status of Anita Among could make her a president of Uganda and make his son lose his place before his eyes as president. You can imagine. That is how much these people fear us. Museveni luo adeda makomberi chani luo ne mawek meti nek and gene chwa Anita Among wakera Anita Among gene kama dingi pienta moni Anita Among kita dong tika dong kere kwane awaju lonyo kingongo gini Anita Among buak bed president oko ineno makuna Anita Among pebi loyo kui Uganda i Uganda long kari Anita Among uchung en ki Ugandan mukene Anita Among pebi loyo kui meberu president Uganda ento eni nyuru kita luor mati diwi Museveni jocha luor wa makonye pe jocha luor wa majo wa mati monyi koneno romular wa kijami mogo we jocha luor wa en wa Museveni ko bichero kamoke keni no ki lor yo kilomita ye piera dek nyo piera beach no ki lor yo ko bier ngati moe ken po o choke jo pa Museveni ki Museveni kunyoni kari nyara tika wodon ki lor yo ko meno luoro. That is how much they fear us. Museveni ki tame ki diwe otamo ko ni Anita pien nenchale ni beda poya ba luo ni Anita romu beru president kita do Anita ulon kere kunyoni romu kwa lugina ko romu kwa nyukoma ko ki bod wode inke go ma Anita Among pe romu lon kui kake kero kui me adani Anita Among pe loy kui ana romu chung against Anita Among pe loy kui Uganda pibal motimo kui ba Anita Among la nienu cha anyaga mau etani chung i opposition against Anita Among anyaga ni pingo peki makoko Anita Among ukati unopposed i Bukedia pingo pien ngatu mani mukene mano buloy kuini kitu kikwanyo kitorle bwa ikara manyaga ni kati dong dugu kama leng pien ki kwalo ko kita ki kwalo kere ki kere drone ki ter dane ba ki kwanyo kumenu ki ter nyago ni ki logo wiye ki goyo ki temni ning ikara manyaga ni dugu ka lok madong wa yenya deda anyaga ni wachi ana bi ha kui ki antina Anita Among wata abi wa kui ire ineno one wangeni Anita Among pero mo kato kui me beru president ento Museveni ngeni twartime meno kita joni luoru wa kwede Ugandans ayumalo umeki wakilu meki mautimon au konywa do utimu kimo along ikom loka Anita Among matera deda PM Anita Among ena ye representation pa Uganda kubedi chawa ni darme anyoli me Uganda ti position pa Anita Among do bu beri position weng man Anita Among ti ye ti darma ti buj la boybal jo mi opposition pien nigu agu wachi ana miru ngata pe Museveni mono rom tergi buj lutien maki maugi moto duo ta pien gu wachi gi miru Bobby Wine mono rom gi to Anita Among beri chani dongi wachi miru kinek chwara koni konene man la dit lobo me Uganda malu anyoli me Uganda da ginene in pero mtemune In kangarmon bali tere court. That's it. Mir pay good kom ngati. Pay ticket where me good to ngati mo. Ilobo mati advance ka inini. Ngati mo eken mo nye ko gura. Mapaye. Court. Court ya. Igura pingo. Ina ye wachi bine. Ngati mo ma wacha. Keri chwala message mo wacha binere. Message eni romo. Ngati chani atwaya. Ilobo mati anyimwe. In Western world kan. In the Western world, nobody has a right to tell you that it is time for you to be killed. No. In fact, if somebody sent me a text message with a threat saying, I'm going to kill you, that's enough to get them in jail. Attempted murder. That's it. These Museveni people and cronies, they think they can do anything to everyone. No. Somebody attempts that to me, sends me a message, I take that to the police, they are going to jail. Period. Nobody can touch me just because they want to. No, you touch me at your own risk. Because you're going to jail. I will sue, and that's it. Once I take you to the police, before they say you did it or not, you will be held at least for 24 hours. It's the law. It's the law. So, the representation of Anita Among speaking to Muhoozi at the swearing-in ceremony depicts exactly where Uganda is, where Anita Among represents Ugandans and Muhoozi represents the refugee camp at State House. And all that they do, everything they stand for is in that man. Standing and not even worth, Anita is not worth Muhoozi's eyes while he talks to her or she talks to him. That is where Uganda is. Killing of Magogo symbolizes killing Ugandans. So it is up to Uganda to do something. I've spent a lot of time on that. But let's get to the next things. So I told you about what they said about, what Museveni said about no sleep and no more corruption. No more corruption, referencing Anita Among and other people. All those people working for Museveni, Museveni has something on them, including religious leaders. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, religious leaders who become the who's in religion in Uganda they start in Luwero, because in Luwero is where Museveni grooms the next leaders of the religious sect. I'm talking mostly about the Protestant church, the Kazimba Mugalus type people. Okay? The saved groups and all that, those denominations, because obviously for the Catholic Church it's different. It doesn't come from everywhere. So what happens in Luwero to those religious leaders upcoming, Museveni is raising into positions. What Museveni does is he gets them entangled with young ladies in some hotel or bar or something in Luwero. And those ladies are staged by the Musevenis. Those ladies are on a mission to go and do those things, recording videos, and those videos are shared with the Musevenis. That is why they can never come out and speak the truth. You have never heard religious leaders going to visit the people in prison. The National Unity Platform people in prison have never been visited by the religious people. They're always on Museveni's string being yanked like this. So I say that to say that Museveni, all the people he's working with who are Ugandan, Museveni has something dirty on them. Something. Even the ones who are not in the religious sects. Some of them have had people dead and thrown in their courtyards. Some of them have been caught in some major crime. Some of them have actually killed people. Somebody like Chameleon, he's an artist. That one helps the explanation because he's far out there. He's not a civil servant or anything. Museveni has a history that Chameleon killed a person. Anytime Museveni wants Chameleon to do something, he says, do you remember that case? I still have it. Do you want me to wake it up? And then he gets Chameleon to do exactly what he is. That is why sometimes when you see these people talking, they sound empty. They're not speaking from their soul. They're hollow. They're just saying things. This person knows I'm live. I don't know why he's calling me. You know, so it is, I feel sad for those who are still climbing that ladder because Museveni will kick it. Like he's kicking Anita Among now. That ladder will get kicked. Eventually you'll fall. Atika wachi, jo ma Museveni ti yu kwet gini. Peti ngati mo ke ken ma peki, lok, ma chilu, ma Museveni ti kere kome. Museveni pero promoting dano ma en peki lok ma chilu kome. Chalo lulega Anglican Church ma doni. Ka Museveni ubu kero ngatumani position me berla dit churches mogoni. Kong wego ko timu gimok maraj kong time komi. Chalo cho ma uberu Anglican Church ludire me Anglican Church kunyoni ni. Tie kamoni magi chako kere grooming gen ki chako ponyu gi me beru position ene. Iluero kacha. Awinyi kunu uberu baba na tiye. So gena Museveni timu oru mon ma urokala kermani kenyu enjo slay queen ni. Gichero giti Anglican ludire cha ma tek no ke mako video. Videos ene giter bon Museveni. Enwe ko kunyoni. Peti ngarmo matika aki Anglican Church mo beter lo da. Dansa bujingo. Da cho ma security pa bujingo. Utoy ching bujingo maki wai bujingo yo chelo. Video ani T-Bot Museveni. Man bujingo pero mo tietu lok paruba ma pero ateki lok pa Museveni. Pero mo. Berong logo lo kacha tane ken. Pien video tie kacha. Tie down magoma kino Museveni ne odano kamani ukelo bolu lieli dikal. Ka police ubino no ka kichoy ping ni liel kino gang pangari manyuti ka ichira da ngate ni miero bed ngo me imabuch. Ento pien Museveni boy okay bin kan amito wati ka chel we case enini akero betchen. Kare mo ke ken mangato eni dong mero wachi andong pa mero tichi eni ba andong pa mero Museveni wachi idegi na wachi ni we akel gin chane iponi down weng beda wea tie lok mo ma down waju makati ma logo minera dani ngate ni nanchalo poba ada ngate tika watu loka kuman ngate ni ada daine ni pien ki wie kacha wachi da to ka wai padati me kumanchi ato tie jo mo ma Museveni wachi abineri Pastor Kakande no maberu Kampala Kenya ni. Pastor Kakande unu winye. Pastor Kakande ugu wapinyi Museveni kichoe. Ma Museveni ukero mudori wiye kumae. Pastor Kakande. O mula kichoe gene dako na State House. Museveni payot. Petie la tela mo kekeno nyongari mo ma Museveni ti ukeri matek. Ma peti bal mo ma Museveni umare iye. Pati file i office pa Museveni. Matie kuman majui wachi ko inen kong wipo controlly message why inen gini wipo. He sends the messages when he tells these Christian people to do something and they refuse. Pastor Kayanja was brought to his knees in State House with his wife when they refuse to do something for Museveni. People get tired. How much evil can you do? As soon as somebody says, you know what, I'm done, please let me go, Museveni says, do you remember this? Do you want me to relinquish this? And when that is your livelihood, imagine a pastor whose videos or nudes will get released. Can you picture that? What else does he have to live for after that? None. So anyways, everybody who is working for Museveni has something on you and it will come out. The longer you stay working for him, remember that at any one time, it will be up to him to eliminate you. So you can cut this short, take the embarrassment and do the right thing, or continue working with him and he will kill you at your prime. Your prime, not his. It's up to you. Keep working for Museveni. We'll bury some more people. Okay? All right. About the Chisanja, the next thing they want to do is make Rwandese a language taught openly in Uganda. They want to make Chinyarwanda a language of Uganda. They want it to be taught in schools, at churches, spoken on radio, and on TV. They are also going to heavily promote their cultures. The Rwandese culture is going to be openly promoted now in Uganda without any worry, without any shame. This is the term they want to do it. Rwandese services in church will now be allocated a separate time, where sometimes they will cancel the English service and only have the Rwandese service, so that if you want spiritual anything, you must attend the Rwandese, and somehow people will get to learn it. That's what they hope. Anybody who refuses to entertain this Rwandese manyanga will be dealt with. Anybody. But like I said, all of these religious leaders have already been compromised by Slay Queen nude videos, or somebody dying, or somebody they killed, or somebody placed in the yard. Okay? Main services, songs and praises are now going to be in Kinyarwanda. In churches, main services will be in Kinyarwanda. The songs and praises will also be in Kinyarwanda. On events like introduction ceremonies and such things, they will promote the Kinyarwanda language, their culture, their attire. People will just start to wear these things just like that. I used to have, no, I did not. It was a Mushanana. I think a Mushanana is from Western Uganda. It's a Ankole tradition. I love the Ankole culture. I do. Absolutely adore it. And we were meant to be like this, that you can choose to love any language, tribe, whatever. I grew up in a neighborhood where I had neighbors from all parts of Uganda. All parts of Uganda. I moved on so many different places. I went to boarding school. I had friends, dormitory mates or whatever, from all different tribes. Uganda is beautiful, and we were meant to love each other and maybe learn even all the languages there is and dress up anyhow. There should be no limitation to say this is only for this part of Uganda and the other one's only for the other part and the other for the other. No. One Uganda long no mira wabet kachel. La boya poga poga. La boya poga poga. Mwa chidi yankole berukuman. Baganda berukuman. Actually mira berukuman. Lugwara mira berukuman. No. One way mira no wabet kachel. A poga poga bino ki bot Museveni ki. Pienjo ma an poga ki